Today, we're taking a look at No Rest for the Wicked, a brand new, gorgeous action RPG that's caught a lot of people's eyes with its stunning art style and incredible visuals. But does this beauty also deliver an engrossing, bug-free gameplay experience in its current early access version? I'll be giving my impressions. I've been playing No Rest for the Wicked for a couple hours now, and you're going to know by the very end of this video if I think No Rest for the Wicked is worth the full price tag of $40, 35 Great British pounds. It is on a 10% sale at launch, but obviously you have to buy it right at launch for that. But I'm just going to take it at full price tag. So my thoughts are going to cover the main key areas. We're talking gameplay / combat, performance, which is a very big one, storytelling, and a little bit more on top of that. So that's enough setup. Let's not rest any longer, and let's dive into the world of No Rest for the Wicked. I want to start with the combat. No Rest for the Wicked really shines in its combat. It's an exhilarating and unforgiving challenge, akin to something like Elden Ring, but with a Diablo-style camera perspective. Every swing of your weapon feels real. Like, the sound design is incredible. It really immerses you in the battle. You swing, hit, and the sound design is so good. I feel like a lot of Souls-likes that are not From Software ones really do miss the mark on that one, where you hit someone and the sound design just doesn't hit. But in this game, you hit someone and you feel like you just sliced them open. It is a really good sound design. I think combat's also really challenging, but it has this really good uniqueness to it. It doesn't just feel like I'm playing a Souls-like in a different camera perspective. It feels different because you have lower stamina, way lower stamina at the start of the game than you would in the normal Souls-like. You know, you've kind of got to realize how to navigate the world and environment in this different camera perspective. You know, you can't really control the camera like you do in something like Elden Ring. And I think combat's really fun. It's got some problems I'll touch on later, but on the whole, it's pretty damn good. But the game doesn't just excel in visuals and combat, it also boasts some of the best cutscenes I've seen in a while in a smaller, I guess you could call it AA game. It's honestly, some of these cutscenes look like sort of like they were made by the same people who made like the Netflix show Arcane. These cinematics are breathtaking. They look so good. They're some of the highest points of this game. They look so good. You can feel so much effort and details being poured into these cutscenes to make them look so good. I was really blown away by them. On top of the cutscenes, the voice acting is top notch. Every character delivers a remarkably well acted performance. It just brings this world to life. Every character just has a voice acting that's really well done. You can feel a lot of attention to detail was placed in making these characters feel real to bring this world to life. However though, one major issue I cannot ignore for this game is the game's abysmal performance. The developers have already noted that the performance is pretty bad and they are working on patches, but I still have to mention it. The frame rate is terrible. You can go from a locked 60 FPS down to as low as like 25 FPS. It's really damn bad. And again, on a PC that meets all of the minimum requirements, all the recommended requirements, but the CPU. My CPU is below the recommended one, but I'm going from locked 60 FPS on the balance preset all the way down to sometimes as low as I saw. The lowest I saw was 25 FPS, but that was the absolute lowest. On the whole, it's going from like 60 to 40 to 30 to 50. It's ridiculous. It's really bad. And then sometimes you'll have stutters that will last like 1 to 2 seconds in game, and that's just not okay. For a game that's focused on split-second decisions, difficult combat, this level of performance is just unacceptable, and is really just not okay for a game that costs $40. Let's dive into some more positive stuff. The story, I don't have much to say about the story. It's pretty tight-lipped initially. It kind of just drops you in this world and then you kind of slowly piece things together. It's an intriguing narrative. I'm not sure yet if I like it or not, but it's decent enough that it keeps me interested. The leveling system is a welcome departure from the Souls formula. You can now just at anywhere once you've leveled up, just press pause, click on your character, and level up. You get 3 points per level, and interestingly, equip load and stamina are separate levels, meaning with your 3 points a level, you kind of have to decide, do you want stamina and equip load? Do you want health? Like, it's kind of interesting, because usually in Souls games, you level up stamina, which levels up your equip load. In most Souls-likes, not every game, but most modern Souls-likes, I should say. But which, it's interesting, you know, you get 3 points per level, and I thought it was interesting that you can level up anywhere. There's no bonfires or sites of grace in this game, you can just do it anywhere. I kind of like that. One aspect that definitely presents an issue, especially for this early access version, is the camera. I like the different camera style being like kind of a Diablo style camera, but my problem is I encountered a couple times my camera was getting obstructed by environmental elements. You would be fighting an enemy and then the wall just fades in and I can't see my character anymore. In a game that demands precise positioning, situational awareness, keeping an eye on my environment, on the animations, who's attacking me, it's just not okay to have my camera being blocked. This feels like it's a very simple issue that should not have shipped with the game. It's an early access build, I respect that, but if you're asking $40, I feel like this is something that should not have been in the game. On the visual front, I have something very important to say visuals wise. At first glance, some scenes, like in this beach scene, I don't know if it'll show up on video, but hopefully it does. You can see this beach hopefully showing up on video. It was very grainy to me. It looked really grainy, and I thought there's some sort of upscaling going on, so I'd swapped to the highest graphics setting. Still showed up. Went to the lowest, still showed up. And I was like, this is bad, because I was like, it must be using some sort of upscaling. But this is actually incorrect. In the visuals, right below the visual settings, there's sharpness. Sharpness is defaulted to 100%. You turn it all the way down to 0%, and this grainy issue is completely eradicated. It just looks crystal clear, and I'm assuming this is a bug. I don't know why it'd be set to 100% sharpening, because this filter for they're using for sharpening is extremely strong, and it really breaks the entire world up. The world looks so grainy. So at least for me, I turned this out to 0% and the game looked like 10 times better, so I thought I'd mention it in case anyone else is having those same issues. Speaking of problems with this game though, there is a controversial inclusion of weapon durability in this game, and it's a significant problem I think in this game that actively works against the game's strengths. Its combat is negatively impacted by durability. Like in the Souls games, your weapons will degrade with use, and in this game, for some reason when you die, your weapons lose durability. However, in a game that's as punishing and difficult as this, where you're going to be dying a lot to bosses, in the tutorial it's at least free, but after the tutorial you have to pay gold to repair your weapons, it becomes an unfun drain of resources that if you die a couple times to a boss, your weapons are just getting lower and lower durability, meaning you're doing less damage, you're going to have to try different weapons. It's just not good. You're wasting money all the time. It slows down the combat. You're having to go and grind money up because you don't want to use too much of your money because you want to use it on other stuff. And instead of adding tension and making the game feel a little bit more dangerous and punishing, it just feels like an outdated and unnecessary mechanic that if you removed it from the game, it doesn't impact the game at all. If anything, it makes the game way more fun. Another negative is controls. They can't be remapped. For me, I am very accustomed to the From Software Souls-like controls of RB to attack and B to dodge. Unfortunately, there's no rebinding at all. You can use Steam to do it, but I shouldn't have to do that. Basically, it uses X for attack and A for dodge. For me, I like RB for attack and B to dodge, just like a From Software game. The default controls in those games, that's just how I play FromSoft games, Souls-like games. I'd really just like to see rebinding. If I'd mention it, I assume it's going to come pretty soon. I think this will probably be in like the first patch. They'll probably add that because I don't think that'll be too difficult for them. On a positive note, I've got two small things I want to mention. There's some really cool small details to the environment. For example, when you kill an enemy and they have blood everywhere, if you walk through their blood pool when you kill them, you actually bloody footprints. So it actually is like a really small detail, but it's really cool. It shows a really cool attention to detail. And also, one thing I had to mention was, if you're looking for a break from the action, you can pick up a fishing rod, get over to the water, and just fish. It's extremely simple, it's literally just one button, but every game's better with a fishing minigame, right? So coming to the conclusion, or verdict, the question remains, is No Rest for the Wicked worth purchasing? On one hand, it delivers a captivating and challenging adventure that pays homage to the Souls-like genre, with stunning visuals, gripping combat, quality of life improvements, and incredible cutscenes. However, the crippling performance issues, outdated mechanic, and weapon durability severely undermine the experience, with frame rates dipping to unacceptable lows on a PC that meets every minimum requirement and almost every single recommended requirement. I should not be dipping down to like 20 frames per second at the absolute lowest, but on average dipping into like the 40s. It's just not okay. The constant gold sink to repair your degrading weapons after tough encounters such as boss fights, not fun. These negatives add significant frustration to the game that just feel like they didn't have to be here. If the performance was better and the weapon durability system was a little bit more lenient or just didn't exist, I don't think I'd have many negative things to say. But these negatives are so damaging to the game, they really do drag this game down. Ultimately, if the developers in early access can address the glaring technical issues and reconsider the weapon durability system, No Rest for the Wicked could potentially be worth purchasing for its strengths alone. It's a really good game, but these negatives drag it down. In its current state, the mixture of performance problems and tedious mechanics make it difficult to recommend for me, because it's $40. If this game was like a $25 early access game, maybe $30, £30, I'd consider it recommending it. But at this price point, it's just not worth it because of these glaring technical issues and just weird design decisions that just, and like small little issues that just shouldn't exist at a game that is this expensive. And I want to point out, early access games usually start at a cheaper price point. So this game's $40 in early access. Maybe when it comes to consoles and the 1.0 full release, this game might be a $60 game, because usually early access games go up in price when they officially release in their 1.0 version. Yeah, these issues are ridiculous for $40, but if this was $60, it would be even worse. So that's why I feel like I have to mention it, that this game it's a bit too pricey for these kind of problems to exist. For most gamers, I advise wait for a sale and major updates to hit this game. I recommend, in the pinned comment, if there's any major performance changes, I will leave a comment below and pin it at the very top. So if you're watching this in like a month or two in the future, if you check that pinned comment, I hopefully should have left a comment saying the performance has gotten better. If there's no pinned comment, either I've forgotten, or two, the performance has not gone better. I will hope it's the first one if there's no comment. But for most gamers, I do think it's better to wait for a discount. Not a major one. I'd say wait till it's maybe like $30, £25, something like that. And some updates to just fix some of the tedious mechanics, like durability. It's just not a fun mechanic. I really didn't enjoy it. Because again, in the tutorial it's fine because it's free, but after the tutorial you have to pay every single time for your weapons to get repaired when you die, which is just not fun. The potential is really there. Without these issues, such as optimization and weird design decisions, I really do think this might have been one of my favourite games of the year so far. But these just unfortunate problems that could have easily been avoided really drag this game down. In my opinion, I would say wait for its sale and wait for the developers to refine this flawed but extremely promising action RPG. And that's my thoughts on No Rest for the Wicked. I hope that's been able to help at least somebody out there. I've got nothing more to say. I have been a little harsh to the game, but I hope it's not been. I hope I've been fair. I've tried to mention a lot of positives, but there is a lot of problems I did have with the game that just felt like they could very easily have been avoided. But yeah, got nothing more to say on that one. I've been the Intel, and I hope you have a lovely day.